allow me to begin. Essentially, we have in our panel two publishers, a book publisher and a newspaper publisher. And we have two printers, Vasant Goel and Ashish Batra of Magic Paper International from Greater Noida. So we have two printers and converters. We have two publishers and a paper manufacturer, gentlemen with a great deal of experience in paper manufacturing. So I think what we have been discussing this morning is that we have all come through a trauma. We have come through a pandemic. And the fact is that we are still standing. So there is some kind of resilience associated with our industry. And that we are without doubt, at least we think, that we are very important for the future of the society and for all industry. So I would like you to share, first from the point of view of the publishers, then the printers, then the paper manufacturing, what is your basic, shortly stated experience of the pandemic, and what should we do now to bring the industry back and to bring the economy back? I suggest to all of us that we should not only think of our industry, but we should think that we are key to bringing back the entire economy. So link your role with the role of the economy. So let's start with the publishers first.
Hello. I think this is a part of learning.
Excuse
Finally, finally, this is a part of learning. We should forget what has happened and we should learn from it. This is my idea.
You think essentially what you're trying to say is that essentially we should learn from the pandemic.
Exactly.
So what we are asking you to share is that what has Amar Ujala learned in the pandemic?
Actually, there are lots of issues everyone has faced. One is distribution. So the main factor was distribution. You know, for newspapers, fake news was spread. That newspaper is spreading the virus. This was the most critical thing that we have faced. Even I think you are from paper industry. This has affected to you also. And finally, newspaper has evolved like most reliable news content. So I think this is learning from.
So one thing that you have learned
Yeah,
is that disinformation and misinformation
exactly.
is something that we need to combat
Yeah,
as a society and as an information channel,
yeah,
whether it's a newspaper or other channels.
absolutely.
What about the gentleman from Random House? What is your learning?
Well, I'm
HarperCollins, sorry. I thought it's all owned by one company now.
no. So
Not yet.
I wish all the luck to Random House.
Sorry.
But our learning in this pandemic was that we need to understand we are distributing content. Content is king, whether it is newspaper or books or education material. So content is the important thing. Print is just one medium of distributing the content. There are other mediums arising, which is digital, audio, so on and so forth. But what we have learned in the pandemic, that we didn't see the appetite of consumers about content. Everybody wanted to have it. Only the distribution part, the printing or digital, these things got disrupted. And we stand correct today because we are seeing already our print production for our books has surpassed what we were doing 2 years back. It's already, in effect, rather we are actually facing a huge issue about how to maintain our supply chains. So I think the important learning was that we went to the basic. We thought that printing books, a printed book is the product. It is not. The content is the important thing. So that was what we learned. And then we also saw that in these hard times, then you start looking at alternatives and all that, and then you immediately find like in case of our distribution networks and all that, we were doing it for ages, but then we thought these Amazons, Flipkarts, they were actually helping us. Uh, Earlier we thought they are just part of it, but they made a huge contribution. How we distributed our content, and it has become a mainstay. So learnings, yes, there are learnings. Learnings are like go to the basics, try to innovate, and innovations did happen. So in a way, pandemic was not all waste. It made us learn lots of things. Innovations happened, and so I think, okay, whatever is gone, bygones are bygones. We learned things, and I think now we are looking at a huge growth potential. So it is just that the
Okay.
paper guys, printers, they need to support us and all.
No, okay. I'm going to actually, out of turn, ask you one more question, which is I realize what you have said is that there has been a huge pent up demand. So as the schools have suddenly opened, and I have visited certain presses, they are they are having to turn away the work. They are saying to HarperCollins, please go somewhere else. Although we are your loyal printer, please try somewhere else because I am full up. So this has also happened in the last few months. My question to you is that you now say that you are a distributor of content and knowledge, and it can have other channels, not only books. In the realm of education in India, we heard a lot about digital education, Jews, other people like that. Do you think that the future of education in India is physical schools, government schools, private schools, or Jews? A personal comment from you, huh? Doesn't have to be your company's view.
No, even my personal view and industry view is that, at least in India, it is not going to happen. Digital education is more of a. So you see, it is like we get those activity packs where we supply crayons or stationery items along with the book just to add value and all that. So as of now, in the short term or mid term, I see digital as one additional thing which will go along with print. Having a purely digital model of imparting education, I don't think so that will happen. It has to be print plus. We call it print plus. It has to be print plus. Whether print plus digital, print plus stationery item, whatever. You need to make value out of it. So education, I don't think so. School education especially, I don't think so. And other thing is the way, if you see today morning I was reading the newspaper that tech stocks are crashing down. Reason being because tax always these tech companies they fear inflation, and inflation is going to stay for at least the next 3 4 years. So all the companies, whether in ed tech and all that, they'll go slow on innovations and all. So that will be a contributing factor that will help print to grow further. But education, I don't think so.
Okay, I will ask you one more question. I know I'm delaying the rest of the process, but one more question. Let's say that Byju's succeeds. Not only Byju's, but there are 20 other companies hugely invested in. Most of us don't understand why there is such big investment there, possibly. Do you think that these big companies in digital education are also going to consume books?
It's already happening. We have seen lots of schools in pandemic, they approached us to have a digital product. So we made some digital products, but in the end, when schools started opening, they said, "Can we get printout of these digital products?" So which defies the purpose, because they found that students' uh, captivity of a digital product is very difficult. Uh, so print has to stay. So I believe uh, even Byju's and all that, because now they are getting into private tuition market and all that, which is which Akash and Fitchi, everybody was doing much earlier. But those were supported by printed products only. So even Byju's would come around. It is just, again I'm saying, what Byju's is creating is not digital, like how to impart education. They are creating content. Tomorrow, if customer says that, okay, I need a print product, they'll go for print. If digital, they go for digital. But they're creating content, which is more important.
Okay, thank you. I think Vasant has something to say on that. I would also like to just add why I am stressing the importance of education.
Hello.
Bangladesh distributes approximately 6.5 books per student in Bangladesh. India distributes approximately 4.5 books per student from 0 to 12. So if India wants to catch up with Bangladesh, we need to increase our book production by 33%. Okay? Vasant, you start from the printer side.
Okay. Before that, I'd like to add that Byju's. Hello. Am I audible now? Yeah. Just to interrupt in your conversation earlier, Byju's has a print budget of about 100 CR plus. They're already printing lots and lots of books, and it is increasing. So what Amit is saying is just another medium for distributing content. So, pandemic learning for us is a big shock. We really saw supply side constraint. We saw demand going down, and how do you manage it here? We've never experienced this before, but coming out of it now, looking back in the hindsight, uh, how do you manage such shock shock events? You can't. The only way is you continuously invest in technology. You see how you can improve your manufacturing capability and what is the right medium for the right product. Like Amit is saying, some content is going to move electronically, some content is going to move in print, some is going to move in print plus. So we are seeing that, for example, specifically for printing of books, the break-even point for digital POD versus offset has gone up after this pandemic because of the cost. Earlier, where you could print 300, 400 copies on offset, now it's no longer viable. It has to move to digital medium.
So that means the pandemic indicated that the digital has accelerated.
Yes, definitely.
The use of digital coming to India has accelerated. Go to Ashish Batra. What is your experience, Ashish?
So, uh,
And you can speak also about what you see as the solutions going forward.
yeah,
You can
absolutely.
kick that off.
So, my experience in terms of digital, I mean, we were discussing the growth of digital marketing vis-a-vis the real books. So, I have visited the book exhibition in Frankfurt only 2 times in my life. One was 10 years back, and the last one was in 2019 before the pandemic. In 2010, every stall had an iPad and everything was digitally created. All the books were in digital form, most of them. But in 2019, when I went there, I saw there were hardly any iPads on any stall. So going by the experience of Western countries which are slightly more evolved than us, I would say that the whole threat, as we would call, of digital has already surpassed us. Both digital and paper books are here to stay together. I think digital will aid the education, but the primary form of learning would still remain in physical schools and in paper books. You can't take that away. I mean, I have seen a lot of children. My children go to school. We've had few months of pandemic, and we've seen how they've been educated through iPads and computers vis-a-vis how they are educated now through books. So it is impossible to replicate and substitute one for each other. In terms of pandemic, yes, like every other educational printer, we've had a lot of bad phases. And as Vasant said, we didn't know how to handle it because none of the printers have seen their presses being closed for almost 2 months and still have to maintain all the expenditures, which becomes a huge financial impact. But however, now I see that once there's a pent-up demand, as you said, and a lot of people chasing printers, which is the other way around, a kind of respect for printer has gone up, has graduated. You're not considered to be one of the printers. So I think there are a few positives of the pandemic also, in a sense that it has kind of created, rationalized the supply-demand equation in the market. And I think the printer has a new platform, which is much better than the pre-pandemic era.
apart from educational printing and books, do you see a return to commercial printing also?
I think so. For a short period of time, there will be a definitely boom in commercial printing also because we see so much consumption happening. The market is absolutely inflated at this time. People are chasing to buy a lot of things. When you have such a scenario, there is a definitely growth in all respects. The whole ecosystem is flaring up, so which will also involve the commercial printing for sure. But at least for a certain period of time, because this might not be sustainable. So when we see the real impact going off, then we don't know. But at this moment, of course, yes, commercial printing will also continue to sustain.
I have one slightly sensitive question. Some printers, even in Bombay, well-established printers, in the pandemic had to sell some of their valuable machines at throwaway prices. Have you experienced or heard of these kind of incidents in North India also?
Yeah, I mean, it depends how you are financially backed, how much leveraged you are in terms of your debt and equity, and how much rent you are paying if you are not in your own establishment. I mean, these are all factors which determine how the person has been able to outlive the pandemic. Uh, in North India, yes, we see a lot of small printers who have closed shop. Uh, we haven't heard, thankfully, of any big printer going into a kind of a big injury as such. So all of them are still alive and kicking with the grace of God. But yeah, I mean, it has rationalized certain demand and supply equation which was earlier not in the favor of a printer.
Vasant, you want to add?
We have thrown out a lot of equipment. Rationalized, we moved manufacturing from Noida to South Plant. We've actually sold 2 or 3 machines, big machines, and replaced them with a newer one because they're no longer viable now. It's about money, how much money or ROA or ROEs you can generate from your working capital. So
In fact, I've heard this from several printers. They'd used the pandemic to get rid of an old machine, and some of them were lucky enough to order a new machine before the shortage of new machines has happened because of lack of chips. If you order a new machine today, you're not going to get it for 10 months or a year. But if you ordered a new machine a year ago, it has arrived, and now you can install it when there seems to be an uptake in the market.